In our main story, the Mint speaks to economists on their forecast for Zimbabwe's 2020 economic growth prospects. The Minister of Finance, Professor Ncube, in his 2020 budget statement presentation, stated that he expected economic recovery in Zimbabwe of up to 3% for 2020, based on key assumptions, and further spoke about his inflation target.
Economic recovery of up to 3% is projected in 2020, primarily premised on the following key assumptions. We expect, one, a better rainfall season supported by increased support towards rehabilitation and development of irrigation infrastructure to sustain agriculture activities. Also, we expect better planning for increased agriculture production. That's also critical. Number two, we expect improved macroeconomic stability through continued fiscal and monetary discipline, as well as a substantial improvement in the balance of payments position. This will also improve due to improved electricity supply through imports and other alternative sources of energy. These include harnessing of emergency power generation capacity from independent power producers and projects. The extension of supportive tax and non-tax incentives to stimulate domestic production, yet another factor. Advancing implementation of the ongoing ease of doing business reforms will also improve the investment climate and be a positive factor as well. And finally, increased investment by both government and the private sector is yet another factor that will impact positively on the prospects of the economy. Similarly, monthly inflation is expected to fall to single digit from the first quarter of 2020 to close the year at 2%, on the back of commitment by RBZ, the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, to implement tight reserve money supply targeting framework as announced in the second 2019 monetary policy statement.
The Mint in a recent interview got the views of two economists, Brains Muchemwa and Persistence Gwanyanya. First, let's hear what Brains Muchemwa had to say and his forecast for 2020 growth in Zimbabwe.
I think what is quite clear is that running an economy is not an easy job. In particular, when you look at the challenges that we had in 2019, we had a lot of optimism in the beginning of the year, but things turned out, quite the opposite. And when you look at the projections by the Minister of Finance, 3%, look, it's a modest projection, and the fact that the government would have to do a lot in terms of social assistance and bring in subsidies to just cushion the vulnerable, it will be very difficult to expect growth. I think at the worst case, we should probably be -5, -6% for 2020.
Although their forecast numbers may have differed, Persistence Gwanyanya also saw little to negative growth in the Zimbabwean economy for 2020. Persistence further spoke about the effects of monetary reforms on the nation.
We don't expect any growth in this economy. In actual fact, we expect a contraction of the economy. And I would want to put this as worst case and best case and best case scenario. On the best case, we also we expect a growth, but a very small growth of around 1.7% thereabouts. But on the best case scenario, we expect the economy to still contract, but a small contraction of around 2.5%. So chances are the economy is going to contract this year. There are very high chances the economy is going to contract this year. And also importantly, the effects of monetary reforms. Policymakers did not even anticipate the effect of monetary reforms.
So economists are seeing negative growth for 2020 in Zimbabwe in a range of between -2.5 to -6%, against the Ministry of Finance budget forecast of up to 3% growth. Quite a large variance in numbers. If Zimbabwe once again suffers a debilitating drought in 2020, leading to a possible increase in subsidies for the most vulnerable in our society, combined with pressure on the exchange rate, then Zimbabwe may once again have a tough year. Authorities must keep on top of the situation and plan well in advance for any eventuality. Crisis management and late response to bad economic scenarios will not do. 2020 must be the year when government, with the assistance of the private sector and all Zimbabweans, gets the economy back on track for